Ducklings, welcome back everyone, welcome back to another weekend edition of the Sparkling Tuna Cup, week number 76. Your weekly dose of CranKy Duckling action. Here we go. This is of course our weekly open tournament and the bracket is live. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. We are jumping in mid-series. Unfortunately, we did miss out on game 1, so I do apologize for the delayed start, but we are jumping into game number 2. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the red Terran player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss. It is Rebellion. And the proxy is upon us. Let's go. Let us go. And again, I do apologize for missing on the first game. Unfortunately, we were just left out of the game. So I did have to wait for them to finish and wrap up the first game. Don't know what occurred outside of the fact that Nicoract is leading this series, and now we are getting into an embracing game number 2. We have our initial proxy racks. This should just be for proxy Reaper into the main base to wreak some havoc, and should be transitioning back at home as gases are being taken, probe scout coming in, and Rebellion will notice the racks is missing. He will notice. He will take notice. Otherwise, welcome one and all. Again, the bracket tonight is going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter. I mean, we're in the off season. Likewise, we're also hosting our event in the middle of the week. For those who are curious, typically Sparkling Tuna Cup is over the weekend. It's usually over the weekend. Alas, no longer, at least for the next 2 months, because of Masses Coliseum. Basically, there is a big event that we're going to be casting every single weekend for the next 2 months, and because of that, we have to reschedule. We have to repurpose our events. On the one hand, I mean, we could just not run our event. True, we could just not run it, or we could, of course, reschedule it. So rescheduling is the name of the game. That is the plan, at least until, you know, we can go back to our regular Sunday slot. Until then, do have a bunker here in the mineral line. Reaper's going to be on the way, and the goal here is to delay mining for as long as possible. With the help of the Reaper, with the help of the bunker, we can delay that mining. Likewise, Rebellion pulling the boys. Zealot has arrived. Ooh, again, Zealot, just because he did scout across the map, the racks was missing, and taking this very seriously here, pulling a lot of workers actually, and I would say arguably overreacting here to this. In the end, 1 probe will fall. Not too many lost workers, but lost mining time nonetheless. Lots of mining time in the main base. Likewise, we have the second, the third now probe under fire. Third probe does fall. Stalker has arrived, and without the Stalker, the Reaper's going to be forced back into the bunker. But in that bunker can buy a little bit more time. Likewise, second Reaper has arrived, dives on into the bunker as well. And Rebellion's going to have a harder time breaking through this. Again, his goal is to try to snipe that SCV, wait for the shield battery. Ooh, Stalker taking a lot of hits. Does take a lot of damage. Has to take a lot of hits here. Has to back off. Has to respect the Reaper. Shield battery is done, and now the army can push in. Now we can push forward here. Nice juggling here with the SCV. Oh! So he jumps in. He jumps. Is able to dive on in. Likewise, ooh, SCV taking some more damage here, taking some more hits. Once again, nice juggling, diving on in, avoiding some of those shots. Gets a couple of repairs off, but the bunker is on fire, and the bunker will be destroyed. But does get one more probe. One more probe goes down in the process. And all in all, pretty good damage here by Nicoract. Nicoract, he gets 4 probe kills. He delays mining time. He also forced out a shield battery. He forced out a zealot as well. And even mining time in the main. And from here, he can just contain. He can look to just contain his opponents. Shouldn't really get any further kills from here. It should be zoned away. Back at home, Nicoract just going to be calming things down. Getting into his own TC on the low ground. His own 1-1-1 follow-up as well. He's getting there. Is working towards that mid game. Behind this, following it up with even more aggression, you have a reactor Hellion production here into 4 Hellions, and the goal here is going to be to bust into a mineral line. How many Hellions does it take to kill a probe? 3. Takes 3 Hellions to one-shot a probe, and when probes line up, I mean, the damage can be insane. And here we go, the 4 Hellions are moving out. Again, they're going to have the Reapers to support themselves so they can help a buffer against the Gateway Army, and Rebellion, his natural is wide open. It is wide open, and Nicoract, he's getting ready for the dive. Ready for that dive. Will blast on in. Gets past the army into the mineral line. Probes are going to be going down. Oh, they light up. Oh my god. Whew, they do get away in time, thankfully. But that's still 5 probes going down. 6 probes going down. And from here, Nicoract can just get the hell off. He can just back the hell off. Get out of here. Ooh, diving back in. A little bit ambitious. There's not really much to kill. So we'll delay some mining time, I suppose. But that means that this is going to be a one-way trip. Or at least it should be. Taking some extra hits. Diving into the main, getting a full scout. Probes are being pulled. Ooh, decent splash damage here with the Hellion, and yeah, Rebellion, he's just struggling here in the early game. He will defend. Eventually, he will clean this up, but he's been scattered. Behind this, he's got 4 gateways on the way. 1 gateway done, 3 gateways in production, and charge alongside it. So, oh my god, never mind. Did I say 4 gates? 6 gates, and really what I meant to say was 7 gateways. We have a 7 gate 2 base all in. Wouldn't be surprised if he throws down another gateway, and this makes sense. Rebellion is taking too many losses, too much damage early on. Now it's all about that all in. And back at home, Nicoract, can he survive? Second bunker's on the way. Tank is ready, but I don't see anything on the low ground. Nicoract doesn't have much. He has 2 tanks, he has a Banshee. Where's the buffer? Where is the support? He needs more time. He does need more time. Rebellion, he's rocking up here, and now here come the Zealous charge is done. And if given enough time, Nicoract, he must drop a defense, otherwise he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. Zealous, they dive in, they're going for the tank. Boys are being pulled. The boys are being pulled. Tank does go down. Second tank should be on the way, but GG gets called. Looks like there is going to be a defense, and Nicoract, he will hold. He will take game number 2 in the series, 2-0. GG. GG. GG, well played. I also apologize for not hosting the predictions. We'll get that going soon thereafter. Don't you worry. As we are jumping into the bracket, we can figure out where we are and where we are headed. Here we go. As we are getting ready for our next series. Let's switch our sneeze over and have a look at the bracket itself. Again, the bracket this week is a little bit smaller than what we are used to, but it's all good. It's all good. We're still more than happy to host the event itself. Looking at our bracket at the moment, we do have a walkover as well. Unfortunately, shout out to Lunacy. Lunacy is a Green Protoss player. He does drop by in the chat very often as well. Big supporter of the channel, but did let us know that something was occurring, something IRL, and he was unavailable to compete. And as a result, did give a walkover to HonMonO. Did give a walkover to HonMonO, and as a result, HonMonO, he has gotten into the semi-finals. So we have 2 semi-finalists. We have HonMonO towards the top, and we have Nicoract here towards the bottom. And they still have a bit of a ways to wait here. We have Ordinary versus Young Hero, not YoungYakov, not Young Zest, not Young Machine, Young Hero. Everyone's young nowadays. Oh no. But we do have Ordinary versus Young Hero, currently mid-series. Likewise, Zertanis versus Cost Phoenix, also mid-series as well. Winner goes up against YoungYakov, winner goes up against HonMonO as well. We're most likely, just because these other matches have a ways to go, we're most likely going to be focusing here on Ordinary versus Young Hero. If you don't know who Ordinary is Chance, aka Change, aka Jaw Titan. He has a bit of an identity crisis. He's gone through a lot of name changes over the course of his career, but he is now Ordinary. Here, and Ordinary is currently mid-series. When it comes to Young Hero, I assume that's a name change. I don't know who that is though. I don't know who that is, not entirely certain, so if you know, I would love to be informed. But for the time being, again, Ordinary is mid-series. We're either going to be jumping in mid-series into that, or we'll be following them into Nicoract for the lower semi-finals. That is most likely the direction that we're headed. That is the plan. It's not about the size of the bracket, but how the players going to perform. True, exactly. If the stream is a little bit short today, then I'm more than happy to elongate the stream a little bit further. I was about to say that we could do like some viewer replay casts, but I think the viewer replays that I have are broken, so I don't think they work anymore. But I do plan on having a ladder stream later on tonight. It's been too long. I'll be honest, it's been far too long since I've had a ladder stream. I miss it. I miss laddering. I miss streaming. I miss playing. I mean, I just haven't had the time to. We've just been busy working on VODs, or working on social media, or working on the stream, working on the CranKy Ducklings. Just haven't had the chance to. But yeah, should find some time to later tonight. Maybe. We'll see. We shall see. Just gonna be catching up. Oh my god. What's happening in the chat? Told you, Young Hero is Kogatok. Ah, there you go. Young HonMonO. Young HonMonO. But yeah, from here, I guess we're going to be going on a short break. From here, I guess we're going to be going on a short break. And when we return, we will have our next... Oh, or will we? As Ordinary is out of game. Is out of game. Okay, okay. We have our next match. Have our next match, and it is going to be Ordinary versus Young Hero. Let's go, Young Hero. Good. How many Youngs do we have? Okay, so we've got Young Zest, we've got YoungYakov, we've got Young Machine, Young Hero now. Who are we missing? We had Young Jadong. We had, does DRG Ling count? True. I want to say DRG Ling counts. I think he's like an ordinary young player. What are we getting? A young Iba? Oh no. Hello TI Beats. Hello, hello. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. Young Rogue. Let's go. You are the young HonMonO. Old Mono, pap. He's old Mono. Oh no. Oh, the kids are in school. Not these kids. No, no. Can you share any insights on the Duckling streamer recap? We will be posting the Duckling recap, the Twitch recap, and probably the YouTube recap as well. I mean, all the recaps. Most likely be posting it either tonight or tomorrow, one or the other. And we can go over it during the podcast as well, which is going to be tomorrow. So yeah, we'll be posting. We'll get there, don't you worry. Until then, we are going to be jumping into our second series of the day here in the quarterfinals. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss. It is Ordinary. Not on the Platinum Heroes. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the teal Protoss player. It is Young Hero. He's a young hero. Let's go. You know, I appreciate that even though young and hero are two words, he still kept the H as lowercase. He still kept it lowercase h. He knows which fan he is. He's a real hero fan. He knows back. Let's go. Unfortunately, he's not the other hero fan. That'd be Gemini. Feels Gemini, man. But now we are going to be settling in. So far, so good. Settling into our first mirror match of the night. And from here, we should be getting into our 2 gate openers. As of late, a lot of the Korean Protosses have been embracing gate cyber-based builds, but that is not the case here, at least, between Ordinary and Young Hero. Not the case here. Not yet. Young Light, aka Light. Oh no. Not Light. Not like this. Let's go. YoungMonO. I feel like Hyper 1 is YoungMonO. In my mind. He wants to be YoungMonO. He wants to be. No. Put down. Just getting into our mirrored builds, just 2 gate openers all around, waiting for the Cybercore, then we can get into our first units of choice. What's it going to be? We have, Double Adept here out of Ordinary. We have Stalker Sentry out of Young Hero. Now, with a Stalker Sentry opener, again, this is very standard, very macro-oriented, is going to allow us to get scouting information across the map, thanks to the Hallucination Scout with the Sentry. Meanwhile, Ordinary is going to be the aggressor here, moving out with Double Adept, not just Double Adept, into a Stargate as well. So Ordinary is going to be doubling down here on aggression, position, and with this, his goal is to get economic damage done, whether it's with Adepts harassing, whether it's with the Oracle, both in conjunction, or one distracting for the other. Regardless, it's all about that damage, and we'll see if YoungHero can keep up. We shall see. Hyper the one is older. Nah, it's fine. It's fine, Pipe. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. See, what I'm waiting for is eventually we're gonna reach the point in the game where we're gonna have YoungYakov. We're gonna oh no. Oh no. We're gonna get even younger versions of the young ones. Aye. As back at home, we do have YoungHero opening up Robo, very safe opener out of our Teal Protoss player, but for the time being is trying to keep up with the Adepts. They do commit to the shade. Yeah, they commit. They bust in, they get 1, they get 2, they get 3. 3 probes going to be going down, they're going to get a 4th worker, and do we get a 5th? Not quite, but 4 probes, not a bad start. Adept up. Ooh, does not shade away, is going to be shut down. Meanwhile, across the map, Hallucination will get eyes on the tech of choice, and we'll get eyes on the Robo and the Stargate, or at least it should. There we go. Hallucination dips in, is where the Stargate spots the Oracle as well. There's the energy overcharge. And it's going to be on YoungHero to defend and to be ready in the mineral lines. We need shield batteries. Shield batteries, units in position. You can see Sentries and Stalkers already repositioning as well. YoungHero is working towards that eventual blink. That's Twilight Council. He's getting there. He is getting there. As Ordinary dips in. Oh. Zoned away by the main army. He's going to be zoned back. YoungHero, calm down. Attack his own Nexus for a moment. It's okay. It'll be fine. We'll pull out. Likewise, Adepts are shading towards the natural once again. Earlier they got 4 probe kills. This time we get 3. Can we get 4 once again? Oh, it's going to be close. As we don't quite target that final worker. Adept into the main. Yeah, 3 probe kills so far. Stasis trap into the mineral line. Ooh, does catch 4 workers. Oh, but a little bit of miscontrol there out of Ordinary. Oh, bit of miscontrol, takes a lot of extra damage, but does escape, does get away. Also, if you weren't here for it, we did end up casting and finishing Alima League last night. We were casting it live, of course. Alima League was last night. Honestly, a lot of fun games, a lot of fun matches. As a bit of a teaser, we actually featured Clem of Racing once again as Protoss. Clem, he played a series against Ryung as well. We get 3 more pros, 3 more workers going down here at the natural, 4 more workers. Ordinary just pulling YoungHero apart. And YoungHero is going to be forced into an all-in. Glaives are on the way. Immortal production well underway as well. There's going to be a 2-base all-in here out of YoungHero. It's going to be all or nothing, but he still needs a little bit of time to actually get this going, to embrace those upgrades and to move out with his army. So he needs a little bit more time. Meanwhile, Ordinary back at home is transitioning into a longer game state, now with his own Twilight Council, I would imagine, with Blink on the way. I would imagine. But yeah, Alima League was a little fun last night. I think it was Clem versus Ryung. Was it in the first round? I think so. I think they faced off in the first round. And Ryung defeated Clem in game 1 in the TVT. I mean, as you would expect, right? Ryung, he's got like some of the best TVT in the world. Did bring Clem down. And then in game 2, Clem, he played Protoss. He played Protoss instead. And I mean, again, Clem, he's the best Protoss player in Europe right now. Like, he's higher rated than MaxFax. And for good reason, his Protoss is pretty good. And yeah, he flexes Protoss in Alima League. It was pretty amazing. it was crazy. It was crazy. I do recommend it. I do recommend the VODs. 100%. If you want to tune into the best Protoss in Europe, take it to the Koreans, then check out Clem. Good stuff. Meanwhile, Double Oracle does hit the main. Ooh, once again, YoungHero not quite in position. Again, there was no shield battery placed earlier. And now it's all or nothing. The all-in is here. No, the stasis! Calm down! The army, no! He moves in and does take a stasis to the face. And last Ordinary, he has plenty of time to respond. We have 2 more stasis traps. There's a field of stasis traps. They just keep going up. And GG gets called. No final fight. I mean, the writing was on the wall there. And Ordinary will take the series 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Ordinary will take the 2-0. GG, well played. Congratulations. And he will advance on to the semi-finals. Again, it's one of those things where one of the new aspects of PvP, I mean, not even just PvP, but Protoss in general in the new patch, because of the NG overcharge, nowadays these stasis fields are a lot more common. They're a lot more common in every single matchup, just because as long as you open Oracle and as long as you retain your Oracles over time, because of all the NG overcharges, you have that much spare energy for all those stasis traps. Like, that is definitely something that players have to get used to over time in the new patch, and you have to be that much more on top of just keeping an eye open for the shimmer on the ground for when and where those stasis traps are. Regardless, GG. GG, well played, congratulations. Ordinary will claim the series, and with that we're going to be following Ordinary into the next round, into the semi-finals. Let's go. Let's go. Just letting the players know, slipping into those DMs. Beautiful. Okay, so Vita's underway, and once they come back, we're going to be jumping into Ordinary versus Nicoract in the next round. It's going to be up next. It's going to be another TVP, another Terran versus Protoss. Just catching up. Hyper 1 sounds like a cool nickname you'd give to an Air Force pilot. Yeah. He's best friends with Top Gun. It's crazy. Aye. Is Young Hero a fan of Hero? I would imagine so. I'm pretty sure it is a reference to Hero. 100%. Did the guy that opened Sorg Century win? He did not, unfortunately. He was forced into an all-in. We did see Ordinary just outpace him, was able to harass time and time again with Adepts, with Oracles, pull him apart, and led into the game state that we saw towards the end. Which Hero? Lowercase h Hero. Lowercase h. Otherwise, there'd be a capital H. Of course. I'm sure he's enough of a fan to know. I'm sure. Yeah, Vetoes are underway. But yeah, so yeah, last night we had some really fun games, really fun matches in the League. Likewise, we were able to have and host the rematch between Skillus and Rogue. That was also a lot of good fun as well. Seeing them face off for the second time, and yeah, it was great. It was good fun. Other news that occurred recently that I guess we're going to be going over tomorrow as well. If you remember, I was curious as to why Dark didn't compete in the qualifiers of Master Colosseum. The thing about Master Colosseum is that it is a 2-month event. It does last 2 months. So if you compete in it, you have to be dedicated. You have to be dedicated and committed to that 2 months of play. And for Dark to not compete in the qualifiers, even though he played in the events surrounding it, was interesting to me. And of course, we did just find out that Dark did end up leaving his team today. I think today or yesterday. I think it was today. Today he did end up leaving team Talon Esports. I almost said Team Falcons. The other one, Talon Esports. And I would imagine a lot of that might. I'm still of the belief that all has to do with military service, but we'll see. We shall see. Still of the belief it has to do with that, but we'll keep an eye out for any news regarding Dark and what's happening. Keep an eye out. Here we go. Is opening Sentry a good opening? Yes, it's standard. It's very meta. Sentry-based openers in PvP are very standard. Might be passive. No, it's just more macro oriented. It just gives you a lot of scanning information. Early on, like Sentry openers are really important. Or I say really important, just really safe, just because it allows you to scout everything, allows you to make sure there's no all-in coming, allows you to see the tech of your opponents, so you can prepare back at home. So if you see something like a Stargate opener, you can set up shield batteries, you can get your units in position. If you scout something like a Twilight Council opener or a Robo opener, you can prepare for that as well. You can get eyes on follow-up expansion timings, like production timings as well. It's very common to see like 2, 3 sentries like early on in PvP, just so you have like non-stop hallucinations and non-stop scouting. Like, it's one of those things though where scouting is half the battle, right? Like, especially depending on your level, right? Knowing what's happening is one thing, but being able to respond and doing something is another. But yeah, at this level is very common, very much so common. I'm gonna miss Dark. Now I have to figure out who's gonna be the next best Zerg of the East. I'm leaning towards Rogue. Shin, baby, Shin. Of course, of course. Unfortunately, Shin has been less active this past week. I want to say this past week, maybe 2 weeks. Shin has been a little bit less active. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Shin at Master Coliseum, 100%. Shin's an animal. I feel like Shin fits like the role of Dark a little bit better than Rogue. I know Rogue is also really chaotic, and Rogue can be really abusive, 100%. With his playstyle, I mean, not as a person or as a player. But with his playstyle, he can be quite abusive, 100%. But I would imagine he's like his own kind of being. I don't know. It's hard to say. I can see some similarities that Rogue has with Dark for sure. Likewise, Shin and Dark as well. They're of a similar vein. Similar. Rogue not even getting second best Zerg. Feels bad, man. Don't tell Artosis. I think Artosis knows. I think he knows. Estetosis. But it looks like our players, they need a little bit of time to get their vetoes underway. Once they are done, we'll be jumping in. Now, going to be going on. I'm going to be going on a short break, and we'll see you soon with our next series. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the semifinals of Sparkling Tuna Cup number 76. Again, it's going to be a bit of a shorter broadcast here tonight, but it's so good because we're here to support our players. We're here to experience some StarCraft. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have the red Terran player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Protoss player. The blue Protoss from South Korea, it is Ordinary. There you go. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat, as honestly, this could go either way. If you've been tuning into the podcast, if you've been tuning into specifically the OSC Elite Rising Star Tournament, then you would know that Ordinary has been popping off. Like, it's one of those things where, not even just in that tournament, but we've been casting Ordinary in these other online open tournaments, like the Wardy TV Mondays and some of these other events. KSL comes to mind. Actually, KSL was a big one. And if you remember, Ordinary, he was popping off. Like, he was taking down some big names. He was taking down players like Trap, taking down players like Nightmare as well. Like, Ordinary, he was crazy. For those who, again, don't know, especially if you're maybe a little bit newer to the scene, or if you haven't been watching like online events, and especially Korean events over the past couple of years, like 2020 onwards. Ordinary, he is otherwise known as Chance. He's been competing for a couple of years at this point, and he's one of the more amateur players that really rose up during the COVID era of StarCraft. Like when I think of Ordinary, I think of Quanta, right? I think of Quanta, I think of HonMonO, I think of 3Point, I think of Stephen Curry, I think of Luna C. Like a lot of these guys all kind of rose up during that period, and Ordinary, he did achieve quite a bit of success for himself, but he never quite broke into like Code S. You know, Ordinary and a lot of these other players, they're more of like these Code A players, if that makes sense. You know, like this tier just below the pros in South Korea. I mean, on the one hand, I mean, it shows just how competitive South Korea is as a region, how difficult it is to break into the upper echelons and even break into Code S. And Ordinary never quite did break through that. And I know that he was struggling from a lot of just stress. Like he was just really stressed out. He put a lot of pressure on himself as well when competing. He would always have some decent results here and there, but struggled to be consistent. Then he retired. Then he stepped away from the game. And he recently came back. I say recently, like maybe 2 months ago. Like 2 months ago, he came back. He name changed from Chance to Ordinary. That's like a bit of a like commentary on him. Like he's often very down on himself. He's often, you know, very just very harsh on his play and very harsh on himself as well. And you know, he's calling himself just he's like Oliveira. He's just a normal man. he's just ordinary. But despite that, when he came back, he was actually getting really good results. And part of me feels like because he's only part-time, because he's not a full-time player anymore, because he, you know, this is more of a hobby more than anything for him, that a lot of that pressure was taken off his shoulders, and he's been actually like playing well. It's crazy. it's hi. So yeah, good load of love here for Ordinary, and we'll see how he does perform here tonight. Meanwhile, we do have Nicoract opening up once again with Reaper Hellion. Does dive in. Do we get the force field? Oh, boys are being pulled. And we do get the force field on the ram. Very nice. Oh my god. Ooh, the probes, they line up for a moment. But last, Ordinary will shut this down. We'll lose 2 probes in the process, but only 2 workers. Meanwhile, Reaper does bust into the main. Very low HP. So far, it does thread the mineral line, and he's going for the probes. Oh, he's going for them, and it looks like he will get 1. 3 in total. 3 probes in total. All in all, though, that is not a bad trade for Ordinary. Looking at the Unisource tab here, that was 4 probes for 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions. In the end, a better trade for the Protoss. In the end, it is going to be a better trade here for Ordinary. Meanwhile, across the map, Nicoract, he is not done. He is not done. He's building up here, gearing up towards his 3-1-1 setup. Do you see what I see? No starport. No starport. 2nd and 3rd ranks. This looks like a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in out of Ordinary. He is gearing up and getting ready for a stim timing. Stim with, I want to say, around 3 tanks. Around 3 tanks here is what we're looking for. And Nicoract has the option to pull the boys. He will have the option to pull the boys with this as well. The reason why this looks like an all-in, and this most likely is going to be an all-in, is that Nicoract, he did not invest into a starport. He is intentionally delaying his starport in favor of extra production, of extra Marines, extra Marauders, just extra army here to dedicate towards that push. And the hallucination confirms. So big scout by Ordinary. He sees the production. He knows how dedicated this is. He knows how aggressive this is, and we'll see if he can slow this down. It is so important here because Ordinary did open up Blink that he is active with these Stalkers, and he actively slows down the push. And the way this works here is that Ordinary, he wants to pick away at the Marines, ideally get a Marauder, get a tank, get anything he can before the army gets across the map. As it gets across the map, I should say. As it's moving out, this army here has to just chip away at the forces of Nicoract, slow him down, to the point where by the time he gets across the map, it's not enough of a threatening force, and then Ordinary can hold and survive. Meanwhile, he does have high ground vision. There's the Unsiege! He does what the Unsiege, we spoke about it. There we go, we pull the boys. It's a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in out of Nicoract. Ordinary dives into the main base, will came the production. Boys are being pulled. And can he snipe the upgrade? Oh, no, he can and he will. Not Stim, but he does deny combat shields. It was a bit of a gamble. Likewise going for Stim as well, but it looks like Stim will finish up in a couple of seconds, and it will complete. Whew, just in time. Stim will finish, and here comes the army. Now, on the one hand, this is great, right? He denied combat shields, he picks up a Marauder, but at the same time, the army is still here, and the army is massive. And he didn't slow it down. Didn't slow down production, at least reinforcements. Tanks, they siege up. Tank boys going to be going up. Tank boys here on the Stalkers. And the gateways, they're under fire. First gateway is going to be going down. Ordinary in trouble. Nicoract slowly pushing forward, getting within range of the Robo. And it looks like we might just barely get that second Immortal. It's going to be close. We get the Chrono. Oh no! The Tursus Pylon goes down. Everything gets depowered. The Robo does fall. The second Immortal gets denied. And Ordinary, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble here. He has to try to break out. So dives on top of the tanks. But alas, he will not be able to break through. The boys have arrived. The boys are here. Likewise, Pro's being pulled. There's only one Immortal left. It looks like Nicoract, he will do it. He will break on through. Breaks through the main army. Cripples the production. And there's just not enough left here for Ordinary. Again, it was a really cool move for him to go into the main the way that he did. If he had sniped Stim, that may have been worth it. To be honest, he gambled. It was 50-50, right? Which tech lab did he deny? And if he had gotten Stim, and maybe he holds, like Stim would have been huge. But it was combat shields. Well, it's combat shields in the end. Zelda coming from behind. The army is over-stimmed. He's getting on top of the tank. The tank is going to go down. But Ordinary, he's lost so much in the process, and there's still a standing army. Ordinary is down to 2 Zealots. More reinforcements on the way. There's another warp in. There's the NG overcharge, but another tank has arrived. And again, Nicoract, he barely has enough. Barely has enough to keep on going. Shaving off more Zealots. Oh. And again, Nicoract, he can keep pulling this off. Now, fun fact, Ordinary still ahead in probes. Like, that just shows how all-in Nicoract was. Like, Nicoract was completely all-in. He pulled so many workers. And Ordinary does have an economic lead over him, but what about the tech? Remember, the Robo got sniped. Likewise, we lost the third base as well, right? The Natural, I should emphasize, Natural did fall. Nicoract backs off. Ordinary, he's still technically in this game. He's still in this, but it's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. This is his army. 3 Stalkers. He has Blink. He has Micro Potential. But all Nicoract has to do is just calm things down, back off. He's getting into 2 more Raxes. What does this mean? This means no third CC. Nicoract, he had a choice. He could have thrown down a 3rd command center or 2 more Raxes. He chose Raxes. He chose violence here, and he's just building up and getting ready for a second wave, a second all-in. Now, as he's gearing up for a second all-in, that's Storm. Storm is on the way for Ordinary, and he is slowly recovering here. And if he can finish Storm, if he can land some juicy connections on this army, I was gonna say that Ordinary could try and take a fight and could hold, but that's a lot of Marauders. Like this, the problem here is it's so Marauder heavy. And even if a Storm connects, Marauders, they don't care. At least they don't care about 1 Storm. They care a little bit about 2 Storms, but like even then, like Marauders, they're built to tank. So I can envision a scenario where Storm comes in and then Nicoract, he just runs through, right? Like he just like battles through the Storm anyway, gets on top of the army. It's not going to be an easy army to stop here. There's a scan, Observer gets sniped. Nicoract's moving out. Storm is about to finish. And does he pull the boys with this? Gee, I mean, oh my god, there's just so many Marauders. Look at the Units tab. It's almost as many Marauders as there are Marines. That's 15 Marauders and 18 Marines for Nicoract. Like, it's crazy. Speaking of Zealots, they do come in from behind. They catch some reinforcements. I mean, again, this is a good trade here for Ordinary, but once again, here comes the main army. Okay, 3 Storms. There's gonna be 3 Storms, Pappy. And he's diving in. There's the first Storm, not bad, but here come the splits. It's second Storm, and there's 1 more left. Most of the Marines go down, but the Marauders do survive. Ooh, they shut down the Stalkers. They get 1, they get 2, they get 3. Get 3 Stalkers. At the same time, Zealots got 9 SCVs across the map. Reinforcements are on the way. Nicoract, he rotates over towards the 3rd. Ordinary trying to keep up. There's the NG overcharge. Okay, he has 2 Storms. 2 Storms left. Oh! He has 2. Oh, he has 1. Doesn't want to waste it. He has Storm on the right-hand side. A nice splits here by Nicoract. Again, the Storms are not enough. There's the final 3rd Storm. Oh, High Templar, they get targeted down. And Ordinary, he barely doesn't have enough. He needs more of an army here. High Templar gets targeted. And Nicoract, he breaks through. GG gets called, and Nicoract will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, Nicoract with the non-stop 2-base all-ins, pulling the boys. Alas, Ordinary did scout what was happening, did realize what was going on, and his response to it was to try to backstab, ideally to force Nicoract back home, to snipe Stim as well. Again, it was 50-50 there. There's definitely a chance where if he had sniped Stim instead of combat shields, then that push would have been so much weaker instead, and there would have been a higher chance for Ordinary to have held and survived and minimized losses more so than he did, and you know, have a stronger response, have a stronger follow-up into a longer game. regardless, GG. GG, well played. With that, Nicoract does take a lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of ley lines, we have the red Terran player. Representing the Platinum Heroes, leading the series 1-0. Unamas, one more game is all he needs to advance onto the grand finals. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss. Down in this series, we'll see if he can force the ace match. I want to believe he can. It is Ordinary. Here we go. So we are going to be settling in. Just going to be catching up. What about Code B? Can I join Code B? Code B used to be a thing. Not anymore. I mean, like unofficially Code B, right? Like, for those that are curious, there used to be a Code A, which was like the challenger league to Code S, and the qualifier for Code A would like be unofficially Code B. So that's what that would be. But it's been many years since there was like an official Code A. So, yeah, it's been a while. There's never been a Code C, if that's what you're curious about. I don't think there's ever been like any reference to that, I should say. But now though, we're settling in. I'm going to be settling into our second game. Nicoract going for a single gas opener, so racks into expansion here. Economic start from our Terran player. Meanwhile, Ordinary back at home, just gate Cybercore expand standard opener out of Ordinary. Here's going to be a standard opener. So in chat, is the mothership size still reduced? No, it has been reverted. The mothership is big again. It is large once again. The reason for that, I believe the rationale was because the mothership can't be targeted by abductions anyway, then there's no need for it to be small. Originally, the reason why it was reduced in size was to make it more difficult to abduct. Or I say difficult, was to force the Viper to be closer to be able to abduct, just because the size was reduced, so it had to move closer to the object itself. But because it can't be abducted anymore, now it's big again. Just as a heads up. As from here, we have a Twilight Council opener out of Ordinary. Going to be Twilight Council into Blink. The question becomes, how many gateways? How many gateways here for our Protoss? We'll see. Is it going to be 2-gate Blink, 3-gate Blink, or 4-gate Blink Stalker? Meanwhile, across the map, we do have Nicoract just getting to his own follow-up here. Again, economic start. Because that economic start, that means that there's no committed Reaper Hellion aggression that we saw in the previous game. This time, we're calming things down that much more. I think it's just typical ranking in Asia. S, A, B, C. Yeah. For whatever reason, in Asia, that's how rankings work. Like, S tier is like top tier. Then you have like A below it. But that's just how rankings work. I don't know the rationale. I'm sure there's like proper like lore behind it. Why, like in games like Street Fighter or something, when you get like a perfect score, like it's S rank, stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know where that started or how it started, but you know, that's a thing. It's a code S. Did it start in Street Fighter? I don't know. Did it start in Capcom games? No idea. If anyone can impart their wisdom on that mythology, then do so in the chat. As that, yeah, I'm asking for like rationale behind it though. But yeah, I'm sure there's more reason as to why that is the case. From here though, we are going to be settling in. We do have our initial stalkers warping into the main just in time. Drop is going to be coming in at the same time. Nicoract going to be threatening a dive in towards the natural. Oh, wall's wide open. The wall is wide open. He can go into the middle line, and 3 Hellions that will one-shot probes. The probes are going to be going down. Brutal connections. Likewise in the main base. Ordinary, he's struggling to hold on. No shield battery. No shield battery in the main. Medevac can be targeted, but the Marines themselves, they focus on the Stalkers. Medevac goes down, but this is still a better trade for Nicoract. Ay, ay, ay. Gets 9, 10, 11 probe kills. 11 workers go down. And with that, Ordinary, he does start off with a really rough start here. His economy is going to be crippled. He's moving out across the map. If I were to guess, it was different. So, what I was referring to, I mean, it's okay. We can move on subject-wise. I was referring to the rationale as to why the letter S was chosen over all others. I think originally S stood for Super in Capcom games. Again, I think it started in Capcom games from my earliest of memories, but maybe it started in a different game genre first. Maybe. Anyway, we can just focus on our follow-up. As Ordinary does dive into the main, we'll be delaying the CC. Not bad. Does delay. And this is some damage, but he won't quite force to cancel. Behind this, Ordinary taking a third. Trying to build back up. Nicoract, he does have a nice lead for himself with that economic advantage. Likewise, Tank Boy is going up. We do delay the CC for a little bit longer, but oh, that was brutal. That was going to be another... Oh, just waiting for the battle report to update. Was another 2 Stalkers going down. 3 Stalkers going down there for that denial. Not quite worth it for Ordinary. Ay, ay, ay. With that Ordinary, his role here is to try to bounce back. Now, to bounce back in this game, when you're in this kind of position here, one of the ways would be for a big counterattack, would be for a Zealot run by as the main army moves out, or a Stalker counterattack. Otherwise, DTs trying to rush tech-wise into something like Storm or something like Disruptors can be a good way to bounce back with a little bit more of a supply-efficient army. The army gets spotted, though, and Ordinary has to try and sort up a defense. Try and set up a defense here back at home. Sentries, force field's going to be available. There's the NG overcharge as well. There's 1 Colossus, but really there's just not much of an army here to help support the Colossus. We need some kind of buffer, and the force fields need to be on point. Even then, though, there's 3 tanks. Nicoract, he stims in. Does stim in. Nice force fields that will slow him down. Will slow him down as tanks. They do siege up. Tank Boy is going to be going up in the Colossus. Once again, they're very nice force fields. And Ordinary, he's holding. He is holding on. At the same time, as they'll run back towards the north side, we do get 5 SCVs. Very nice damage. And now the opposite is true here. With the tanks, they're exposed. They have no support. And tanks are going to be going down. A nice skin up here by Ordinary. Shuts down all the tanks and will force this back. In the process, saves all of his Colossus. Going for the Raven. And again, a lot of this defense came down to the force fields. Time and time again, Ordinary doing an amazing job of just slicing up the army, cutting it in half, fighting only a portion at a time. And now Nicoract is being forced back. He is being forced all the way back. Leading out more Marauders. Nice blink control there by Ordinary. Blinking back. And with that, Ordinary holds. Ordinary does hold. Here we go. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, I wasn't sure about that. So fun fact, so I just looked it up. Basically, I knew that we knew that S tier originated from either Asia or Japan, and that's why I was talking about Capcom. Apparently, it's used in academic rating in Japan, and that's where it came from. Like, it's so the reason why it was in the games is because it's just part of the culture in Japan. It just, yeah, there you go. So in Japan, instead of A+, it's S. There you go. It's like the Japanese word for exemplary, which would be like, I guess in English, the equivalent would be like distinctions, or like high distinction, like exemplary. Oh, there you go. Learn something new every day. It's up to school. Yeah, up to school, up to school. But like, apparently that's I guess where it would have started. Good to know. Your HonMonO, are you S rank? Let's go. HonMonO, he's in Japan. Meanwhile, Nova's gonna be going off. Ooh, but the Colossus are gonna be shut down by the Vikings. Jesus, there's so many Vikings. The Vikings, they shut down the Colossi. Unfortunately, no other form of splash damage. Disruptors are on the way, but alas, Ordinary, he needs more time. And he doesn't have that time. As Nicoract, he does rock up and knocks down the base. DTs, they try to come in to help support, but alas, we have plenty of scans available, or at least we should have. As Nicoract, he breaks through the main army, gets on top of the base, knocks down the fourth, and gets them in from there. And unfortunately, the Disruptors, they were just too little too late. As Nicoract just barrels through the army. Sims on in. Nova goes off, but Disruptor gets focused. And the Nova will not connect. And with that, Nicoract, he's snowballing out of control. I mean, sure, there are reinforcements coming in. Nova goes up, grazes the army as well. Nicoract, he is running out of reinforcements. Will have to back up. But back at home, he's on 3 bases. He's getting a 4th base up and running. His economy is looking solid. And Nicoract, he already has a 2nd army. He has a 2nd force, this time with Ghosts, this time with EMPs. He's looking to just end it from here, to snowball out of control. Ordinary back at home is trying to reestablish his bases. There is a chance if he can land some Novas that he can try and stem the tide and slow this down, but there's just so much of a supply to work with that even with 1 or 2 good Novas, because there's just so little on the ground here for Ordinary, it's not going to be enough. There he goes up, gets a Ghost, 2nd Nova. Oh, does overshoot. And again, even if it didn't overshoot, Nicoract can still push through. Meanwhile, auto start harassing towards the natural. Couple is going to be going down. Going to be 7 workers. We're waiting for those EMPs. As Nicoract, he's almost maxed out. Black-White Prism into the main, but there are Liberators. The Liberation shuts him down. Not like this. No, every time I look at the corner of the map, I'm still like caught off guard by this. Like the giant jet engines. Jesus. We be zooming, Pappy. We be zooming. Are they both headed in like... Are they both pushing inward? Or are they pushing out? Like, what's happening here? Are we compressing the station? Is that what's happening? Are we compressing ley lines? As Nicoract stims on forward, sets up his liberation zone, he's going to be going up. Ooh, they do connect! Oh god, but that's going to be 4 Disruptors going down. With that, GG gets called, and Nicoract, he will take the series 2-0. Will advance on to the grand finals. GG. GG. GG, well played. Nicoract, he will claim the series. Again, Chance did have some nice moments in this game. I was very impressed with the initial defense when it came to the force fields, when it came to his initial Colossus defense as well. It was very well done. Unfortunately, in the follow-up from that, he wasn't quite able to keep up. He wasn't quite able to replicate that success when it came to the second push of all those Vikings. We saw Nicoract did snowball out of control, and with that, we are getting ready here for our next series. We're getting ready for our next semifinals. Let us go. I do need a moment to set up the players. Un momento. As we have our Terran and Zerg here of the night, we have HonMonO and YoungYakov. Here we go. We have our ZVT. Again, YoungYakov is going to be our Zerg representative here tonight, and we already have our first Terran making it through into the grand finals. My condolences to Ordinary, did well for himself making it to those semis, and even in the match itself, didn't look too bad against Nicoract. Did have his own moments. Again, like I can see game 1 turning out so differently if he had ended up sniping Stim instead of combat shields, or if he had taken a different approach. Was a very close defense. But last, we are now focusing on our upper match. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of King's Cove, we have the South Korean Terran player living in the land of Japan, representing Team Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player, representing himself, currently teamless. It is YoungYakov. Not to be confused with Young Hero. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat, as we have HonMonO moving out with the initial proxy Nicoract. Oh boy, again, HonMonO, he's known to being a hyper-aggressive player. In a way, similar to Nicoract. I mean, Nicoract is aggressive, yes, but HonMonO, he's more cheesy than anything. Much more cheesy, much more all-in as a player in a lot of matchups. And we'll see if he goes by unnoticed here, as the Raxes are being laid down. So proxy Nicoract here out of HonMonO. Now, I would usually say this should be proxy Nicoract Marine with a bunker rush on the low ground to force a cancel and contain the Zerg player, but HonMonO is taking gases. This is a very unique HonMonO build. I do remember that Björn did do this. I'm pretty sure he took it from HonMonO, actually, like, fun fact. And that happened, I want to say, like, last year, but more than anything, this is a HonMonO build. And yeah, Nicoract Reaper, not something we see too often in this matchup. Not something we see often at all. Oh my god, are we going through? So we're throwing down the third Rax as well. Let's go, Bobby, let's go. We're going proxy Nicoract Reaper here, and meanwhile back at home, YoungYakov, he went hatch gas pool, has yet to really determine what's going on. Overlords are moving out to try to get a read on what's happening here. We do have an Overlord. Ooh, actually, not over the natural. And my apologies, this was not a hatch gas pool, it was a pool first opener. So again, I was a little bit distracted and focused on what HonMonO was up to, and really I should have been focusing on YoungYakov as well. Did open up with a faster pull, and he scouts, he sees, he confirms. Can he delay though, because the Reaper has arrived, SCV's under fire, the SCV goes down, and the third Rax is delayed. Yeah, big pickup here from YoungYakov, as the SCVs are shut down, which means the CC, yep, has to be, sorry, the Rax has to be cancelled. Very nicely done. HonMonO does slip into the main. There are Lings waiting for him. Buildings lying in wait. Do see HonMonO looking for another way in, but he has been slowed down quite a lot. I mean, that does eat into his overall Reaper count. Back at home, he's transitioning to a factory. Stepping into the main. Dancing with the army. Oh! Oh, as the first Reaper is going to go down. And that's a rough loss already for HonMonO. Like, every Reaper counts. Every Reaper is so precious here for him. That's around. Oh my god. Reaper barely gets away. Two of them are so low. They're so close to falling. The Queens, they're holding their own at that Reaper cliff. HonMonO going to be forced back. Behind this, still making more Reapers. Behind this, getting into Hellion production. He's still completely all in. Completely. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for YoungYakov as he builds up his Queen counts. Queens, ooh, they shut down a Reaper. One Reaper falls. Likewise, diving in towards the main. Shaving off some Lings, picking off one Queen. Not a bad pickup. Does get a Queen. But Ling Speed is almost done. Ling Speed is almost done, and with Ling Speed, these Reapers, they can't really get much more done. And Yakov is getting ready to break out. Ooh, as the second Queen falls, nice pickup. Second Queen goes down. Likewise, Ling's collapsing in. Chasing down the Reapers. They attempt to. Getting one Reaper, getting a second. Oh, the Hellions have arrived to help support. But the surround! The Reapers, they get caught out. And every Reaper will fall. Now only 2 Hellions left. Soon to be 0. 0 Hellions. Ay, ay, ay. Likewise, YoungYakov making sure that, of course, the Raxes are lifted. GG gets called. There's nothing else left here as YoungYakov expands. And YoungYakov will take game number 1. Whew. GG. How do we just watch? GG, well played. YoungYakov will take a lead in the series. Again, HonMonO going for a very unorthodox build, an unorthodox proxy, and all in. Unfortunately, HonMonO, he was stopped at the beginning. With the denial of the third Rax, that was almost game then and there. That was almost game then and there, with that Rax being denied, with that Rax being cancelled. That was a brutal moment for him. That did slow down the original build of choice, and it meant that his Reaper harass, his Reaper aggression just wasn't anywhere near as strong as it should have been. Likewise, because YoungYakov opened up pool first, he had earlier queens as well. We'll try and do a better job at keeping an eye on YoungYakov's opener at the same time. It's just a little bit distracted. My apologies. Was otherwise distracted. Now we can dive in. Hello, papi. Oh, hello, Logic Unknown. Hello, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos. Is there a plus or minus score? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did see, is that there's no like A plus or A minus or B plus or B minus. There's none of that. That's where the S rank comes in. Let's go. But there we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of El Dorado, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Team Hyper 1. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player. We have the red Zerg leading the series 1-0. It is YoungYakov. Hello, what does Sparkling Tuna mean? All of our tournaments are aquatic themes. That is true. That is true. But there is a reference. If you know, you know. I think there's been a couple of people that have actually... I don't think anyone's like pieced it all together, but... Once we tell them, they're like, oh, that's cool, like for people that are aware. But fun fact, Sparkling Tuna Cup was originally meant to be like almost like a replacement to Alima League. Alima League was a Korean-based weekly tournament at a more Korean-friendly time zone, so STC was originally a replacement for that. I mean, fun fact, Alima League is now back. True, Alima League is now back, but that's what STC was in a way kind of like, you know, a reference to. So because of that, when it came to the name of the tournament, likewise we tried to reference some Korean players as well. One of course being the tuna. If you know, you know. But Dongwon in Korean is a brand of canned tuna, and there are a couple of players named Dongwon, and they have certain nicknames. The big one of course is Ryung. So Ryung, he's called the Tuna Terran because he's Dongwon. So that's why and because all of our tournaments, they're aquatic themed with like a mascot, like Sea Duckling Open or Grand Platypus Open or Tenacious Turtle Tussle. So we had to come up with an animal. So it had to be a tuna, obviously. So that's a reference to Ryung. Likewise, Sparkling Tuna Cup is acronym for STC. And STC is also a Korean player, the STC. Fun fact, we actually he retired for years and we casted him during SEL, if you were there for it. So that's why specifically we had to come up with a phrase that used the letters S, T, and C. So there we go. So 2 references in the name of the tournament. 2 references to Korean players. The words themselves, we just had to make them fit. So we chose Sparkling and Cup. I think we were like playing around with like Shining Tuna Cup or something at one point, like trying to come up with another word. But yeah, there we go. That's the origin of Sparkling Tuna Cup from way back in the day. That's how we came up with that. Likewise, there's also a similar story with the Tenacious Turtle Tussle as well. But we'll get into that next time. But there's also references in that. For now though, the initial Reaper does get across the map, does poke in. This time going to be a standard opener out of YoungYakov. Going to be hatch gas full. Reaper does get into the mineral line. Oh! We'll dip in, we'll dip out. So far, no major kills, no major snipes. Is going to be forced out. Likewise, back at home, HonMonO going for his own 1-1 opener into, let's go into a second factory, into mech. The scout, the link comes in, gets a full scout of the main base, third CC before starport, into second factory, into mech, into battle mech. And YoungYakov, he confirms. He confirms what is going on. HonMonO, he has been having a little fun with the new Cyclone, with the new old Cyclone, I should say. But he has been scouted, he has been found out. Hellions, they dive into the mineral line. Ooh, drones, they do line up. Links go down, and does he get a worker? He gets one. He gets 1 drone so far. Ooh, barely gets 2, and gets forced out. HonMonO, he gets forced out of the natural. And again, behind this should be working towards, I would imagine, Hellion Cyclone. Ooh, no, Blue Flame. Okay. Blue Flame is on the way. Continued Hellion production. But again, YoungYakov, he saw. He scouted the second factory. That is enough of a tell to throw down a Roach Warren. I would imagine he would respond with roaches, but we'll see. Ooh, going lair first. Bold move. Going lair first. There we go. Lair first into the Roach Warren. So again, YoungYakov is getting ready for the mech that's coming his way. Why host a premier tournament? It's going to be called a Mantis Shrimp Cup. Why? Maybe. Shrimp, no. Shrimp. We don't say shrimp in Australia. Prawn, baby. It'd be prawn. It'd be like... Fun fact, when it comes to our tournaments, we already have... If we ever host another couple of tournaments, one, we want to do something with an Emperor Penguin, 100%. We have to use a penguin in some way, shape, or form. And we were also thinking of an orca as well. As another mascot for another tournament series. So maybe one day. Maybe one day. Penguins and an orca. Until then, at least they dive into that. Oh my god, they dive into the third base. Nothing to defend. Where are the Lings? Where are the Roaches? The Roaches are too late. Drones are going down. They're left idle at the same time, though. YoungYakov is across the map. Lings, they bust into the mineral line. They bust into the main. And they're wreaking havoc. HonMonO, otherwise distracted. He does not get the mineral line. His Hellions are forced back. He's defending back at home. He defends, but again, that did distract the Terran. That means that YoungYakov, he saves the mineral line. Shouldn't have, but did. Did save the mineral line. A very intense moment there. YoungYakov, he holds on. Back across the map. That's what we wanted. Magfill accelerators into Mass Cyclone into Battle Mech. Let's go. For those that maybe have not been tuning in, over the past couple of weeks, the new patch, of course, is live, and the Cyclone has been reverted to an older version of the Cyclone. Nowadays, has a very long range, it does pack a massive punch, does more DPS. Like, in general, the Cyclone is insane. The downside of it, of course, is now it's more expensive, and you do need a tech lab to make the Cyclone instead of a reactor, so it can take a little bit longer to really get into Mass Cyclone, but if you can get there, it can get out of hand real quick. If you're watching, last week we casted Lima League Live, and we casted HonMonO versus Rogue, and HonMonO did 2-0 Rogue with Mass Cyclone. If you missed out, if hearing that intrigues you, if you want to see Rogue get Mass Cyclone to death in a best of 3, then check out the VODs on YouTube. It was crazy. did cast that last week. It was wild. But now though, YoungYakov is going to be moving out across the map. Ooh, and the Cyclones aren't ready. And here we go, YoungYakov cutting workers at just under 3-way saturation. Purely Roach Ravager, he's going to be pushing his way in. He does force his way up the ramp. HonMonO going to be forced back, hiding back against the Roaches. They bust into the mineral line. SCV's going to be going down. Actually, now he wants the army. He wants both. What does he get? So far, he gets 6 SCV kills. Nice kiting out of HonMonO. The Biles, they do send him away. HonMonO, he is picking up a couple of Roaches, but there's still reinforcements coming in. Boys being pulled back. Oh, Biles, they connect. They shut down the Hellions. And YoungYakov, he breaks in. He breaks into the natural. Widowmine's going to be going down. 22 SCV kills. From here, YoungYakov, he can just commit. Bleeding out a lot of Roaches, though. Again, these Cyclones, they've gotten a lot of value, but there just aren't many Cyclones. That is the problem here. As he's going for the kill, dives into the main. Boys are being pulled. Biles don't quite connect. And HonMonO will clean this up. He will clean this up, but not without losing 33 SCVs. Oh my god. So many workers, so many SCVs. Not like this. 35 workers going down. Reinforcements, they still hit the natural. Denying the E-bays. Pushing in towards the mineral line. HonMonO, he does have 2 more bases behind this. He's got to go away, stop running. His economy was crazy. But again, too greedy, right? He double expanded. A little bit too greedy here. HonMonO, he's getting caught with his pants down. The greed was too much. The double expand into gold. When really he needed an army. He needed Cyclones. And again, he has been punished. Roaches, they do peel off towards the mineral line. More Roaches just buying time in the main. Zoning back the army. Catching another Cyclone. And that's going to be 64 SCV kills. That's more SCVs than YoungYakov has drones. Remember, drone, he went for a 55 drone all in. That's like 2.5 bases. 2.5 base economy. YoungYakov, he just sent it, papi. He just sent it. And he has broken the back of HonMonO. At this point, HonMonO, he's coping, Pappy. Cyclones are good, but they're not that good. GG gets called, and YoungYakov will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. Let's go. No one said this was about food. True, true. Orcas, not orcs. What are you talking about? Orcas, Pappy. Like a killer whale. But GG, well played. With that, YoungYakov does take the series and does advance on to the grand finals. Again, HonMonO, game 1 was being a little bit cheeky, going for the initial Proxy 3X Reaper. Game 2, something a little bit more HonMonO-esque, going for a little bit of the mid-game play into Battle Mech, but alas, he was a little bit too greedy. He was caught with his pants down. Likewise, in game 1, we saw that YoungYakov read the opener very nicely, was able to shut it down, able to deny it early on, and snowball from there. GG, well played. With that, that does take us to the grand finals. Oh boy, it's going to be a best of 5 finals here between YoungYakov and Nicoract. Let's go. But before the grand finals, we do have a raffle to host. We have La Rifa, papi, La Rifa. Oh, un momento, papi, un momento. Here we go. Getting ready with that raffle. And we need a moment to set that up. Also, it'd have to be a reference to a player as well. Have to reference a player, Pat. King Prawns, even better. True, true. The penguin is an inside meme for years. It is, it is. Technically, we already had the shark. We had the Demi shark, if you remember, when Demi was hosting his events. Did we use the shark as a logo? I think we did, right, Kuro? Do we have the logo somewhere? I know we have it in Discord, but do we have like the out of game overlays? So we've already done the shark. That's already been done. The Demi Shark Open. Good times, good times. We did, yeah. We had someone, yeah. Sharkules. If you're in our Discord, you'll see the emotes, but basically, Demi's nickname was the Shark of the Sea. The sea being Southeast Asia, by the way. There's references upon references, but whenever we would reference the sea, it would reference the Southeast Asian region of StarCraft 2. So Demi was the Shark of the Sea. Likewise, Azure was the Shark Killer, the Shark Hunter. True, that was also a thing. So when he hosted his events, we did commission a drawing of a shark, and we used that. Did use that for him. It was beautiful. Good times, good times. Who will be at the top of the food? We don't have our animals eat each other. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. For now though, we are going to be getting ready for something a little bit different, something a little bit special here. Up next is going to be that random raffle. If you're curious, here we go. We do have a random raffle. If you're curious, basically every single week we host a random raffle for our tournaments. We host a raffle. Of course, all players that did compete here tonight are eligible for that raffle. Of course, they are all eligible. And this week we have 8 eligible players. We have 8 players this week, and one of them will walk away a little bit richer. Not too much, but you know, 5 USD is going to be handed out to one of our players here. And again, it's just a way to spread the love. Our tournament is very top heavy. It's a very top heavy tournament. At the moment, only top 2 get paid out. So to spread the love a little bit further here, of course, we can send it over, or we can spread the love with the raffle. We can spread the love, we can spread the love. Likewise, if you want to help support our tournament series, you can do so via Patreon. !Patreon in the chat is a way to help fund the Sparkling Tuna Cup alongside other events like Sea Duckling Open and Master Swan Open as well. So you can help support us if you wish via the Patreon. Otherwise, it's time for La Rifa. Hashtag rigged. Hashtag rigged in the chat, and here we go. This week, the random raffle winner for our tournament is... Oh my god. Congratulations to one of our finalists. Congratulations to YoungYakov. YoungYakov, he is one of our finalists here tonight, and he is going to walk away with a boosted prize pool, as he also does win the random raffle. Let's go. Oh god. Let us go. So congratulations to YoungYakov. Shout out to Rebellion, HonMonO, Zertanis, Young Hero, and Nicoract, as they are listed there just below him. YoungYakov does walk away a little bit richer here as we dive into the grand finals. Again, it's been a bit of a shorter event so far, but YoungYakov takes down HonMonO to the 0. Likewise, Nicoract takes down Ordinary to the 0. And now we have our 2 finalists before us. We have that ZVT grand finals. Let's go. Vetoes are done, and we are jumping into game number 1. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the red Terran player. Representing the Platinum Heroes, it is Nicoract. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player, currently teamless, but deserving to be on the team. It is YoungYakov. Here we go. We have our ZVT, we have our Zerg, we have our Terran. If you're in the chat, you know what time it is. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. So we are going to be settling into our Zerg versus Terran matchup. Beautiful. Posted the logo and tournament spoilers. Let's go. Hold on. I need to see. It's been too long since I've seen the Sharkules. Yes. It's beautiful. Oh no. We do have the shark in the chat. But now we're going to be settling in. We do have our hatch gas pool. This time standard open out of YoungYakov. Likewise, Nicoract going for what looks to be a Rax expand as well. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild as we settle into our grand finals. Let's go. So I can be settling in. Nicoract going to be moving out with his SCV scouts. Getting a read on what's going across the map. We'll confirm the timing of the hatchery. And from there, can stick around and try and delay the CC, sorry, the third base, or just race back home. So Nicoract just playing it out safely here, will race back. Doesn't concern himself too much with what's happening across the map. Doesn't concern himself too much. From here, we do have Nicoract just getting his CC on location. Likewise, factory here on the high ground. Now, I don't think Nicoract is one to really embrace mech as much. We have seen Nicoract play mech, that is true. We have seen him embrace mech from time to time, but not really something that he relies upon too heavily here. So we'll see where he takes us from this point forward. Most likely into bio. Now, when it comes to Nicoract's playstyle in TVZ, he is very aggressive, and he does all in quite often on 2 bases. Like, Nicoract is just very in your face, very aggressive, willing to go for 2 base all-ins, 3 base all-ins, 8 Raxes, 5 Raxes as well on 2 bases. So our eyes are going to be on Nicoract here. Oh, the surround! Oh, as the Lings, they surround the Reaper. He gets the tumor. That was not quite worth it in YoungYakov. He does hold. So far, doing well for himself. Does defend, shuts down the Reaper. Likewise, across the map, do you see what I see? 1-1-1. That is going to be a starport before CC, so a very aggressive build. This can lead into faster and committed Banshee production. This can lead into a Fusion Core into BC. This can lead into a Armory, into dedicated Hellion Hellbat Banshee play as well. Ooh, as Lings, they do hit the natural, and Nicoract, he will be delayed mining. We'll clean this up, but yeah, he's going to be delayed a little bit longer. My eyes are on the Fusion Core. There it is. Fusion Core has been placed. As you mentioned, when you delay your CC for this long, the chances of it being a Fusion Core based opener is suddenly much higher, and that is what Nicoract is going for. Now, he can go about this in a couple different ways. Nicoract, he could try and harass with the BC, get into the main base, distract, and then come in with Hellions and try to hit 2 bases at once. Or something that Nicoract does enjoy doing a lot more is he builds up a high Hellion count. I'm talking like 8+ Hellions. He dives in, and then the BC supports. It comes in, dives on top of the army, and then he tries to overwhelm the queens. And just brute forces it from there. So again, just hyper aggressive. So we'll see which one Nicoract goes for. I'm pretty sure he's going to try and dive on the queens with the BC and come in with the Hellions and try to just reset the queen count. We'll see if we can pull it off. Meanwhile, YoungYakov is maintaining himself. I'm sure these two face off many times on the ladder, and I'm sure YoungYakov is aware of the potential of BC. Like, this is a signature Nicoract build. Does it quite often. So we'll see if YoungYakov continues queen production. For now, how many queens? It's 6, soon to be 7. 7 queens here for YoungYakov. We have this on the way. Second starport, 2-port mass BC. Oh boy, 2-port 2 BC production here from Nicoract. He's going to be committing quite hard with the battle cruisers. Hellions going to be forced back. And how many Hellions does he have? 9. Ooh, just lost 1. From 10 down to 9. Ling attempts to scout, checking the vision here. YoungYakov doesn't see much. Saw 1 starport on the way. That should be a tell. Lairs in production. I would want to see more queens though. I would want to see more. So far, only 7 queens. Soon to be Ling Bane though. Bane nest will now finish up, and we need some Banelings. There they are. Just in time. 5 Banelings on the way. Hellions, they dive in. Where's the BC? Hellions, they do head towards the middle line. 5 drones go down. You see YoungYakov setting up for the surround. Meanwhile, BC into the main. Not into the main army. Does what's into the main base. Hellions rotating over towards that natural. Ling Bane keeping up. Comes in for the surround. And tries to look down the army. Banelings, they do crash in. Yeah, massive connections. Meanwhile, BC in the main gets deflected. 6 drone kills so far, but the queens are holding their own. And Nicoract is being forced back. Gets 10 drones in total, not bad. The BC does survive, but most of the Hellions have been cleaned up, and YoungYakov, he defends. Does defend, did lose a lot of workers, but remember, Nicoract, he's all in. Remember, Nicoract, he has no third T, no third CC, no third base behind this. This needs to cripple his opponent, and it's done good damage, but needs more. More damage needs to be done here. That's just how committed Nicoract is. Behind this, again, making 2 BCs at a time. Spire is on the way. Now, there is a chance, if Nicoract recognizes and figures out where the Spire is, he could dive in, he could force a cancel. He could kill the Spire. If so, then he could just end the game. Nicoract's moving out. Overseer confirms mass BC production. At this point, we need more spores. 1 spore base is not going to be enough. Okay, we have 2 spores here at the 3rd. Spores are repositioning. There we go. 2nd spores all the way at the natural. BCs, they go. Oh, they go for the Spire. He's going for it. Can he get it? Oh, the queens, they keep up. 1 queen does not go down. Close transfuse. Likewise, Hellions towards the left-hand side. Roaches, they come out just in time. 3rd BC dives in. Spores under fire. Queen's being targeted down. Oh, do we transfuse? Ah, there's 1 transfuse left. Barely not in time. The queens are falling. 1 BC goes down. But every queen is going to fall. Yeah, the queen count is completely reset. And from here, the BCs, they don't quite go for the Spire. There's already Corruptors on the way, but they're going for the expansion. They're going for the main. Hellions, they dive into the mineral line. They break on in. Drones are lining up. Can he get on top of the workers? So far, the Roaches, they zone away. Nicely done. Meanwhile, 15 drones go down. Ooh, 1 BC falls. The other BC, there's no teleport. Yeah, there's no teleport available, but he gets 24 drone kills. Ay, ay, ay. He cripples the economy of YoungYakov. But he's still on 2 bases. That's the problem. One of those things where this has been good damage. If only he wasn't completely all in. As Nicoract is still working on that 3rd CC. That's a long distance mine. Lings, they do get eyes on the transfer. As Corruptors, they do dive into the main. Roaches, they're pushing in towards that natural as well. They're trading with the Hellions. Not the worst trades here, but they are going to be cleaned up at the same time. Corruptors, they want the 3rd CC. And can they get it? Oh, oh, it's close. The Cyclones have arrived. And Corruptors are going to have to respect the Cyclone. Yeah, they won't kill the CC. The repairs are too good. The Corruptor DPS is not high enough. 1 Corruptor goes down. And Nicoract holds. He does defend back at home. He only loses 6 SCVs. Saves the 3rd base. Now going to be landing on location. And YoungYakov is still trying to recover. Still droning up. We do see Roach Ravager coming in from behind. He can get on top of those Cyclones. Yeah, one Cyclone goes down. There's one Cyclone left. Ooh, so it does fall. GG gets called without the Cyclones. Defense cannot happen. And YoungYakov, he takes game number 1. Whew. GG. A very intense game there. Again, Nicoract, he was able to cripple the economy, that is true, but alas, did cost him all of his BCs. Back at home, he was still working towards his Cyclone production. He only had the 2 Cyclones. Without them, the Roaches would overwhelm, and they did. And they did. GG, well played. YoungYakov takes a lead in the series. Whew. Does take a lead in the series. Now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. So we are getting to that second game. Here we go. Hey, what is their MMR? I don't think their MMR really matters. They're both around 6k. They're both very relatively close in skill. No pro players. It's like, I don't know, it's always a really weird to say in the chat thing to say. It's like asking like what's Dark's MMR. It's like it doesn't matter. Like it's not really a number that holds much value, I feel. But here we go. We're getting into our next game, into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have our red Terran player representing the Platinum Heroes down in the series. We'll see if we can bounce back in this best of 5. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player. The blue Zerg representing himself, leading the series 1-0. It is YoungYakov. It's like, oh, what's Max Pax's MMR? It's like, what? Like, I know, it doesn't say anything, I would say. So now we are going to be settling in. Hold value to some extent to like 5.5k MMR maybe. I would agree. Basically what you're saying, MMR matters if we're not talking about the pro level, but like that's what we're talking about there, right? Like we're referring to pro players or semi-pro players, which is where like it doesn't really mean anything. Which is why it's like a weird thing to ask or weird thing to say, I feel. So now, we are going to be moving out. Do have our Rex expand here by Nicoract. Likewise, back at home, YoungYakov going hatch gas full, standard opener. So we are settling in. Physically, MMR 7k. True. Let's go. What do we say about the chat? What is it, like 7k chatters? Chat GMs, that's what they say. There you go. Always. If you're in Twitch chat, 7k automatically. Cap. As of now, we are settling in. Do have a Reaper harass across the map. Dancing with the natural. Looking to delay the expansion. I mean, the expansion already has been taken. Looking to try and pick off any workers if at all possible, but so far, so good. Creep Tuna gets thrown down, and Nicoract, he gets tempted, gets one ling, but is going to be zoned away. So far, so good. As a reminder, last game, Nicoract, he did get the Creep Tuna, but it cost him the Reaper. If you recall, his Reaper did get sniped early on. This time, he's not tempted, and he will fall back. Head into the main, gets eyes on the gases, without any gas income, of course, does confirm no roaches, no Bailey Nest, no early tech. Ooh, almost gets a drone. Speaking of, gets one! Nice pickup, gets one worker in the main. And from here, Nicoract, he will back off, will slip away. The intercept! And Queen comes in with the intercept, nicely done here by YoungYakov, snipes the Reaper, behind this 10 lings are on the way. And it looks like YoungYakov is looking to move out across the map, looking to try to harass and provide some damage here. Harass and keep Nicoract contained. Here we go, lings are moving out. Likewise, Nicoract moves out with the Hellions. And we'll see what YoungYakov can get done. as he does sneak by. Back at home, Nicoract going for a third CC before start. Oh, no, never mind. I mean, yeah, third CC before starport. Lings have arrived. Hellions out of position, and SCVs, they are going to go down. Oof. Yeah, workers going to be falling left and right. Getting 5, 6 SCV kills. Every worker here at the natural. Ay, ay, ay. YoungYakov swiveling at control, and Nicoract can't really do much from here. Not like this. Again, he didn't see the Ling move out. A big reason why he didn't see the Ling move out as well is the Reaper. If you remember, the Reaper did get sniped by the Queens. With the Reaper going down, that meant no vision. No vision, no scouting information. If it had survived, then he would have spotted at least something moving out. Hellion gets surrounded. And with that, YoungYakov is looking very comfortable back at home. He's saturating his bases, droning up, baiting us first before the lair. Very safe follow-up here out of YoungYakov. This means that if Nicoract responds with something like a Hellbat all-in or Hellbat push, then, I mean, we'd be ready for it. Bailings will be prepared. And Nicoract, he's not really set up for an aggressive follow-up. He has a third CC. Now, thankfully, because of the third base, he can recover economically. He can make 3 SCVs at a time, but that was still a lot of damage. A lot of damage early on, and Nicoract, he has a lot of recovering to do. How do you bounce back in this kind of game state? The Cloak Banshees. There's a lot of pressure here on these Banshees. Oh, I said Cloak Banshees, regular Banshees. Cloak was not researched. There is no Cloak here for Nicoract. But these Banshees that have potential, they can get across the map, they can get a couple of worker kills, they can maybe get some Queen kills as well. There's a lot of pressure here on these Banshees. Likewise, the Hellions have potential. If the Queens get distracted, Hellions, they can bust into a mineral line. And we have seen Hellions just roast up a mineral line more than once in the past. So there is potential for damage, but, I mean, there's pressure here on Nicoract. He has to get something done. Speaking of, Banshees are moving out. So it does move out with 2 Banshees towards the main. Likewise, YoungYakov getting into his own lair timing, his own double Evo chamber as well. Banshees, they do get eyes on the 4th. They can try to force a cancel. They can and they will. So nice pickup. They cancel the 4th base, they get a drone kill. This is nice damage, but we still need more. They rotate in towards the main. Likewise, Hellions towards the right-hand side. Ooh, Lings are in position. Yeah, YoungYakov, he is ready, and the Hellions, they respect it, they back off. Yeah, Nicoract, he did get eyes on the expansion. He's aware of the 4th. He does pull back. Lings are being active. And Nicoract is going to be building up on 2 bases. Nicoract is being active. Likewise, 3rd base getting up and running. Something to bear in mind, especially about Whispers of Gold, is how exposed the 3rd base is. Like, it's a very exposed base and very difficult to defend. So the fact that Nicoract does not have map control is concerning. It is going to be a little bit concerning here. As YoungYakov, he's been able to freely drone up to 77, to 80 basically. 80 workers here. YoungYakov is fully saturated, and give him a minute or so and he will be able to soon max out. Just focus on pure army production, Ling Bane, and it can get out of hand. This can get out of hand. So YoungYakov is building up. Likewise, Nicoract moving out, going for his own push. Armory's on the way. He's got how many? He's got 2 tanks with this. And with this move out, Nicoract, he will be able to deny the 5th base. Remember, this is the 5th expansion, not the 4th. The 4th is up and running. So knocking this base down, it's not going to be as impactful. And we'll see if he even can. Ling Bane getting ready for a dive. Nicoract pushing forward. Yakov moving in. Oh, nice tank shots here on the Banelings. Lings, they hit the 3rd base. 3rd base is exposed, and we have to evacuate. We have to pull away. Nice tank shots once again on the Banelings. And this won't be the best trade from YoungYakov. He will lose all his Hydras. Hydras going down. Queen's going to be going down as well. Better fight for Nicoract, but across the map, he will lose only 4 SCVs. Not bad. He defends nicely, but he will soon have to pick up and have to get the hell out of here. Or as it will be cleaned up. From here, pulls away, only losing 4 SCVs back at home. Nice trades here by Nicoract, but he did need to get more damage done. He did not get the 5th. The 5th base survived, and Nicoract, he lost his tank, he lost most of his bio, and YoungYakov now gains map control, and he will soon move out. He's got 1-1, 2-2s on the way, building up on Ling Bane Hydra. Ideally, Nicoract is active enough to keep YoungYakov busy. Ideally, he wants to keep him back at home. As he moves out, gets spotted by the Ling. YoungYakov, he's aware, he's going to be rotating. Nicoract does not find a way in. Has to pull away. 4th CC in production. Things they come in from behind, they surround some Marines, they go for the natural. Quick moves there by Nicoract, but he loses the tank. And one of the tanks will be going down. Lee Hydra, they come in from the front. The Bailings, they crash into the Marines. Tank goes down as well. Bailings, they bust into the mineral line. And this is the damage that YoungYakov was looking for. And Nicoract, he barely could not hold on. GG gets called, and YoungYakov takes a 2-0 lead. GG. GG, well played. A really rough start for Nicoract. Unfortunately, after losing that Reaper, we did mention it, he had no vision on the map. He did take a chance. I mean, that's the other flip side is. Well, the other flip side here is that Nicoract, he moved out with the first 2 Hellions. Because he moved out, he had nothing at home to defend. He had nothing back at home. And if you remember, that was 11 SCVs. 11 SCVs going down at the start of the game. That early on, that is borderline game ending. That is borderline game ending damage. In that kind of game state, that early on is brutal. And unfortunately, Nicoract, he couldn't quite recover from there. He was able to get some damage, like denying expansions. He was able to take a nice fight afterwards as well. But despite that, he wasn't able to really stop the 4-base economy. He wasn't able to stop YoungYakov from getting up to 80 workers and building up into that kind of mid-game. So GG. GG, well played. With that, YoungYakov does take a 2-0 lead, and now we are getting into game number 3. And we'll see how this story ends. See how this story ends here. Does YoungYakov get the 3-0, or does Nicoract bounce back? And again, we have casted Nicoract pop off time and time again. For those that are curious, it was what, like, it was last week, right? It was only last week that we casted Nicoract versus Hero, for example, and Nicoract did force Hero to the ace match as well. That is a different matchup. I do think that Nicoract's best matchup is TVP, 100%. But even here against other Zerg players, we've seen Nicoract pop off from time to time, and I want to believe he can take it here to his opponent, but the pressure is on. Pressure is on, and here we go. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the red Terran player for the Platinum Heroes down in the series 0-2. Can he bounce back? He needs to. Here and now, it is Nicoract. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player leading the series 2-0. Currently teamless, but deserving to be on a team. At some points he's old, but here he is, YoungYakov. Let's go. Let's go. For those that are curious, again, it's always like, is baffled me the right word? Confused me. It was an odd choice. Earlier this year, if you remember, we covered it during the podcast when YoungYakov left his team. He left his team, and he did say that he wanted to continue to compete, but he didn't feel like he could focus entirely on StarCraft. I think he was focusing on his studies at the time. So he left the Platinum Heroes, and it was right after he left the Platinum Heroes where he popped off. In online tournaments. We saw him bring down Creator, we saw him bring down Zaun as well. Like, YoungYakov has been on fire. We also, of course, casted him win the Fire Grow Cup, but YoungYakov, he took down his predecessor, took down Wayne in a very dominant best of 7. So again, YoungYakov, he's been getting very, very good results. For those that are curious, again, it was last week. What was the finals of the Sparkling Tuna Cup? YoungYakov and Creator, the Green Brodos, and YoungYakov, he won. He took the series. Like, YoungYakov has been getting better and better results, taking down big Korean names like Creator, like Zaun as well. And still teamless, you know, still teamless. So hopefully, especially coming into 2025, especially with the announcement of the next season of EWC, I would love to see a team rise up and support YoungYakov, whether it's Streamer Zone, whether it's another team. That's something that I look forward to, just because YoungYakov has been looking so damn good as of late. But despite that, or alongside that even, Nicoract has also been improving. Nicoract, we just spoke about, we just mentioned how he did bring Hero to the ace match. I mean, honestly, Nicoract, he almost 2-0'd Hero. Like, if you watch his series against Hero in the Lima League, like, he almost took Hero down completely. Likewise, Nicoract, we see him cause other upsets, bringing down other big Korean Zerg players and Korean Protoss players as well. Nicoract, he definitely has it in him here to take it to the best of them, but has been struggling here in this series, and really it's been coming down to the early game, to be honest. Like, both game 1 and game 2, were decided a little bit earlier on. If we can tighten up the early game, then we can really close things out. I mean, game 1 was more on Nicoract because of the BC build, true. Right? Like, if you remember, he was the animal, he went 2-port BC, so game 1 was, you know, Nicoract doing Nicoract things. Game 2 was unfortunate. Here in game 3, we'll see where we go. As Nicoract, he's going to be opening up with a CC in the main, so 3rd CC before starport. Economic build here by Nicoract, and if Nicoract were to embrace a longer game state, this is the map to do it on. Welcome one and all to Abyssal Reef. Abyssal Reef is known for the late game just because your natural 3rd, 4th, and 5th base are all very secure, but I feel like this works against Nicoract, as YoungYakov is going for another Link Flood early on, moving out with Lings. This is the same move that he just went for in game 2. It was with this Link Flood that YoungYakov killed 11 SCVs previously in game 2. This time we do see Nicoract, he's staying back at home, thankfully with the 2 Hellions and with the Reaper as well. He has learned his he's crazy. He's learned his lesson. Staying back home, Overlord's in position to scout a move out. YoungYakov should wait for the move out. So basically YoungYakov, he's holding on here and he will pull the trigger if this Overlord sees the Hellions move out across the map. The Hellions, okay, they're revealed. They are revealed. They rotate over, YoungYakov, he pulls away. Again, the Overlord telling him everything he needs to know. So he pulls away, sharking around, rotating over. Likewise, backup Hellions have arrived. Nicoract, he does get eyes on those Lings. Did spot them for a moment. But now Nicoract, he has an army, or at least he has a setup behind this. Depots are being thrown down to wall off as well. And the game will progress. Will continue. Going to be a Baneling opener here out of YoungYakov. Baneling first before Lair. Very safe build here out of the Zerg. Lings, they attempt this around. Oh! They attempt and they get one. They get one Hellion, they get one Reaper. The other does escape. And Nicoract, he backs up. Now, as the dust settles here and as we embrace the early to mid game, YoungYakov, this investment into Lings wasn't worth it. Sure, he killed one Hellion and one Reaper, that's good, but most of these Lings could have been drones. They could have been drones earlier on, more importantly. So YoungYakov, his economy has been delayed somewhat. Now he's taking his gases, he's joining up, taking his Lair as well. Likewise, he went for a Baneling Nest before Lair as well, so not the most efficient of builds here from YoungYakov, playing things a little bit safer, a little bit closer to the chest. This does give Nicoract the opportunity to build up on 3 bases. Behind this, getting into his own Hellion Banshee, into his own Buyer production. Now, something that I mentioned before is that Nicoract is typically a more aggressive player. We didn't get to see that in the last game just because he was really stifled before he could embrace the mid-game, but he is a mid-game oriented player, and I feel like this map works against him. YoungYakov double expanding. He's double expanding, he's spreading creep, droning up quite heavily here, and there's nothing to really stop him or slow him down. A big reason as to why this map is known for its long and late game is because not just how many bases there are, but just how secure these bases are. There's so many cliff faces, there's so many choke points, the terrain itself does not really lend too well towards like these more dynamic pushes. Like pushes can be slowed down quite heavily here on this map. And I would imagine that YoungYakov is going to be the one that's more comfortable in a more drawn-out game. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see if Nicoract can kind of flex in that scenario as well. But now still building up, waiting for his upgrades. 1-1 is on the way, Stim is on the way, Combat Chills as well. Once all the upgrades kick in, then Nicoract can be active, then he can move out. Until then, he's stuck at home. And the Overlord sees that. The Overlord does confirm.
Creep tumor under attack.
Yo, shout out to Abathur. we don't hear... I don't know what it is, but I feel like players in general, they don't really play around with too many different voice packs outside of Diva. Like, there's like a select key number of weebs out there that always rock up with Diva. But it's like very rare to see others. Like, I think I've heard the TB voice pack once. I've heard the In Control voice pack once as well. Abathur is a little bit more popular, that's true, but we don't really hear any others like, I don't know, like Kerrigan or like Jim Raynor or any of the other guys. I don't think I've ever heard an Alarak voice pack, or Kerrigan, or Jim Raynor, like any of the other like more generic ones. Just doesn't really happen. Crazy. You know, I have heard White Row. I think fun fact, it was Estrella. I think Estrella was listening to White Row, right? Was it Estrella? We listened to someone this week with White Row. Might have been Estrella. As Hellions, they shut down the Lings. Ling's getting roasted. Nice defense here by Nicoract. Despite that, 7 SCVs do go down. Ooh, 4 CC is delayed. But here comes the push. Here comes the main move out across the map. Someone that we do hear, though, is Caster Park. Even amongst non-Koreans, we do hear some Caster Park. But it might just be Migs. As Nicoract, he does stim in. At the same time, we do see YoungYakov going for a Ling countersec, trying to catch reinforcements. Bailings make their way towards the middle line, towards the natural. And Nicoract does react in time. The Bailings, they are whittling in. Likewise, main army gaining ground. Oh. And not quite paying attention. Nicoract, he was distracted. Bailings, they crash in. They shut down the bio. They shut down the tanks. Nicoract, his attention pulled apart as he was distracted, lost his entire main army. And with that, YoungYakov is snowballing out of control. It is snowballing out of control. Nicoract racing on back. Just a brutal moment, a brutal engagement. Now, economically, worker-wise, he's holding his own. 70 SCVs to 79 drones. If you factor in mules, I would give the edge to Nicoract, but he lost momentum. He lost his army, so he's stuck at home, which means YoungYakov can drone, spread creep, take bases, and tech. Speaking of tech, Hive. Hive is on the way. Lurker Den is on the way. YoungYakov is working towards Hydra, Lurker, Viper. And he should be left alone. Like, he should be able to get away with this just because of that rough engagement from Nicoract. He still has to build up, has to lick his wounds, taking his 4th base, and giving the Zerg player time to get into Lunkers. And the Lunkers, they're coming. Lunkers are coming. YoungYakov moving out. Getting map control. Not committing yet, so the Hive is about to complete. Ooh, YoungYakov, he was supply blocked. 6 Overlords on the way. A pretty brutal supply block there for YoungYakov. That will slow him down. And there we go. Now that the supply block has been dealt with, the Lunkers. Lunkers are on the way. Hive is now done. We have Hive upgrades when it comes to, of course, Lurker range, Adrenal as well. Raising those upgrades. Vipers would be ideal here for YoungYakov. We'll see if he can get there. And back at home, Nicoract, he is turtling up. And he will max out as well. So we're going to be reaching this maxed out kind of game state here with Nicoract and YoungYakov, cutting the map in half. I mean, this is kind of what Abyssal Reef is known for. It's for just taking 4, 5, 6 bases even, and just fully turtling up. And YoungYakov needs to realize what's going on. Vipers can help break these entrenched positions. That is true. Vipers are going to be ideal, at least until Ghosts arrive. And Ghosts aren't here yet. So stepping here out of Nicoract. Ooh, does get away. Does pull back in time. Tank shots going up. Likewise, Nicoract does pick up just in time as well towards the south. We'll pull away. Nidus from production. Now, this is what I was waiting for. So, YoungYakov, he's making Vipers, he's getting his Nidus play. I was going to say he could either head in this direction, or after he gained map control, he could go towards Aspire, into Greater Aspire, in towards Broodlords. We can see that is not the case. Second Nidus. Second Nidus is in production. This tells us that YoungYakov is going to double down here with this kind of army composition. With Lingbane, Hydra, Lurker, Viper. Throwing down Nidus from left and right. His goal here would be ideally to get into the main. Nicoract getting to his Ghosts. Ghost production has begun. Making his first 3 Ghosts, sorry, first 4 Ghosts even. Nicoract is max, so is YoungYakov. Both players could do with refining their army. Vipers are coming in. Decent kiting, power bomb here on the Metamax, Blighting Cloud as well. Oh, the Bailings, they will soon crash in. Yeah, they collapse on the bio. And they do bring down most of the Marines, but they trade only against the bio army. Bear that in mind. So trading Lingbane for Marine. Behind this, more tanks are on the way, more Ghosts as well. Nicoract building up with a more high-tech composition. I just swerve towards the north. And double Nidus into the main. The double Nidus. Nicoract, does he notice in time? Does he react? Okay, he does have a tank responding. Will deny 1 Nidus, but there's 2. Oh. 2 Nidus into the main. Okay, there we go. We do respond with a drop. Nidus they do complete. A couple of Lurkers do unburrow. Ooh, and they will barely go down. Just barely. Whew. It was close. Was quite close. Nidus are cleaned up. And Nicoract holds. He does hold. Cleans up all the Lurkers. Nidus from here towards the 3rd. And Nicoract, he does notice. Does respond. Meanwhile, YoungYakov knocking down the front door. Viper's moving in. Backup Nidus on the way. And he's going for it. Goes out the blinding clouds. Snipes going off. He shuts down the Vipers. Vipers do full bait as they bust into the mineral line. And Nicoract, he will hold. He will shut this down. Shuts down the Ling Bane, the Lurkers as well. And pushing it head on into an entrenched position like this it's not going to work for YoungYakov. Like, this is what Nicoract wants. He wants YoungYakov to just ape into the brick wall that is Terran. And Nicoract takes a good fight. Does take a good fight. Behind this, YoungYakov still no Broodlords, going into Ultras instead. Bold move. Ultras, they have their place. And in a way, they're kind of designed to dive. Kind of. Yeah, they're okay. So we're taking into those those Ultras. Likewise, his upgrades are a little bit lackluster. 3-3 just now beginning here for YoungYakov. 3-3 about to finish up for Nicoract, so he does have that upgrade lead. It's getting a 6th. 6th expansion getting up and running. Now, as Nicoract takes his 6th base, he's spreading himself thin. We have lines of tanks, that is true, but, I mean, they're not everywhere at once. So this is something that's, that YoungYakov can abuse. The fact that certain locations are more vulnerable than others. Here, for example, only 2 tanks in the planetary. The 3rd base, not really much to defend. We'll see if YoungYakov can find a way in. So he is rotating over. Building up more Banelings. He will soon commit. Here we go. YoungYakov once again going to try to dive in. Gets one blinding cloud. It's a blinding cloud here on some of those tanks. More blinding clouds on the way. Does cover most of the tanks. But he's running out of steam, running out of Ling Bane. Does take down the expansion. Takes out most of the tanks, but Nicoract will hold. He will hold on. The Ghosts, they hold their own. CC was saved, was lifted. They can re-expand. Only 3 SCVs going down. So barely a dent here in that economy. A lower SCV count is fine here for Nicoract. He's going to be relying more heavily on mules. But Nicoract did lose most of his tanks. Looking at the trades here, it was 6 tanks. Oof, 6 tanks going down alongside 9 Ghosts. And that is what he has to replace. Getting into Blue Flame, getting to advanced servers as well. So ideally, what you want in the late game in this matchup is Mech Ghost. Like, it isn't Biotank Ghost, it's going to be Mech Ghost here, ideally, for Nicoract. But this area here is wide open. Is easier to engage into. YoungYakov rotating over towards the right-hand side. He's going to rotate. Ideally, we're going to push into the planetary. Ghosts are not quite in position. Changelings get spotted. They get shut down. Here we go. YoungYakov ready for the dive. Nidus runs at the 3rd. Army dives in. At the end, only 2 tanks in position. There are only 2 tanks. Ghost not quite in position either. The planetary should go down. Yeah, Spine Shot's going off. Gets 1 CC, gets 2. Ghost, they try to respond. Nidus runs do finish. Snipes going up in the Overseers. 15 SCV kills. And YoungYakov backs off. So very good rotation here from YoungYakov. Again, Nicoract, he just wasn't ready here. Wasn't ready at the 4th. Is trying to reposition, and he does have a decent tank line behind this, but only 3 tanks. Soon to be 4. So 4 tanks behind this. CC attempts to land. YoungYakov dives in once again. Oh, gets a fungal. Does get a fungal off. YoungYakov rotates, the Ghost not quite in position. A nice flying clouds, once again taking down 3 tanks. Oh, the snipes! Oh my god, very nice flanking snipes here out of Nicoract. Not bad. Takes down the Vipers. Maintains his Ghost count, like the Ghost count is looking very healthy here for Nicoract. What isn't though is the tank count. That was another 3 tanks going down. Again, I do think Nicoract has to reposition. There we go. He does rotate over towards the north. Does need to spread out those tanks. YoungYakov rotating towards the south. Here we do have some tanks in position, but the Ghost not. He's towards the north. Here comes YoungYakov. And the planetary. Going for the planetary. Collapses in. And he should bring it down. Ooh, and this time with the SCVs. This time with the mineral line. Nice snipe. Oh my god, nothing too close. The Ghosts are a little bit too close. A lot of Ghosts go down. That was a brutal trade. Ay, ay, ay. YoungYakov backs off, but again, he has plenty of bases, has plenty of an economy. If that makes sense. Look at the trades here. That was 3 Ghosts going down. 3 Ghosts for 6 Lurkers. And YoungYakov, you can just do it again. This time with Ultras. Let's go. This time with Ultras. No, the tanks, no! Does catch 3 tanks on their own. Ay, ay, ay. Tanks go down. And Nicoract, he just can't keep up. He just cannot keep up. I should say he's just having a hard time keeping up here. Lack of sensor towers, lack of vision. It's in this kind of game state where it's paramount that you have extra orbitals to be able to scan. You need to be able to scan to get eyes on the rotation, so instead of responding and reacting to the movements, you're already there ahead of time. But it is Nicoract always reacting to the attack that YoungYakov is going for. To the assault that's already occurring, I should say. I should emphasize. As it does feel like Nicoract, he's always quite not in position. Well, not quite in position. Without more Ultras, let's go. Show us the fungals. Professor's moving in. Here comes the Ling Bane. Nice EMP. EMP on the Infestor as Ultras, they dive in towards the planetary. Planetary goes down. Snipes going off, but the planetary does fall. 11 SCVs as well. And again, that's all that YoungYakov needs to do. Just push in, take down a base, move out, rinse and repeat. Oh, he wanted... No, the scan. He wanted the fungal. Professor goes down. YoungYakov rotating. Scan does for the rotation. Nicoract. Likewise, keeping up. Does move to the south. Main rolling in. Lings, they do get into the mineral line. 10 SCVs go down. Yeah, YoungYakov just going back into that same location. At least thinking about it. Does think about the dive. He's got changelings in position. Yeah, he spots the ghosts. Lings, they go for the dive. We get a tank. One tank goes down. Ghosts are spotted. YoungYakov, does he pull the trigger? Not quite. Nicoract is maxing out. Now, ideally, what Nicoract is hoping for is just a really bad fight from YoungYakov. If he moves in, if the ghosts are ready, and if the snipes pop off, YoungYakov, this army can melt. It can melt to the ghost-based army of Nicoract, and then Nicoract can counterattack. He can take down like 1 or 2 bases, and then expand and gain map control. That's really what Nicoract is waiting for. Is that one good fight for the Terran. Double Nidus into the main. Ultras diving in. Lurkers are in the Nidus Worms. Nice snipe from the Ultras. Well, what about the Nidus Worms themselves? Oh, it's gonna be close. One finishes. When 3 Lurkers, they 2 burrow. 1 goes down. And so will the other 2. Oh, just barely. Ghosts, they respond. They should clean this up. And Nicoract holds. Whew. He does hold on. So he does hold on. There's, oh god. There we go. Wings up the Lurkers. And I focus on the main push. He's scanning, spots more expansions, spots more bases. Yeah, Yakov, he's got quite a bank that he's working with. that can definitely, he can now afford to remax 2 or 3 times. At least 3 times. Depending on the army, of course. Double Nidus into the main. Yakov, he is denied though. Snipes going up on the ultras. Oof. That was a ghost going down. Oh no! That's a second ghost going down. 2 ghosts falling. Nidus Worms, they finished in the main base. And YoungYakov, he finally butts into the main with a mass lurker army. This is what he wanted. This is what he's been waiting for. The ghosts, they will help clean this up. Oh my god. But they line up. The ghosts, they line up. That is brutal. And with that, YoungYakov will maintain himself. He shuts down the production. Moving in towards the third. And again, this was the kill move to camp that production. Pushing into the third. Getting more tanks. Busting into the mineral line. Lurkers, they still hold their own. Take down more maxes. And with these Nidus Worms, I mean, YoungYakov, he can just reinforce right into the main. He can just rally in if he wanted to. Still waiting for more ultras. Still waiting for more reinforcements. Ooh. The army is cleaned up. Nicoract, he will hold on to the main. Yakov still waiting for those reinforcements. It looks like he was lacking when it came to Larva. Gets a yoingself. Nicely done. Things will clean up. And Nicoract is just being pulled apart. It's being pulled apart left and right. Oh god, that was... Yo, the lunge from the Hydras on the snow made it look like they slipped forward. They went... Hydras went down, but the Lurkers, they hold their own. And Ultras, they come in to reinforce. Oh god. I mean, Ghosts are pretty good. Nicoract, he does defend, but it'll cost him 15 SCVs. 15 workers going down. Nicoract down to 43. Likewise, he has to rebuild his production, get his Raxes back up and running. And Yakov's still rotating. Here, YoungYakov still just trying to find a way in, and again, every little bit of damage does stack up here. It all stacks up, Aki. Jesus, that's a lot of ghosts. Speaking of, nice snipes. Takes down 3 of the Lurkers. Takes down 4. And Yakov coming in. The ghosts are trapped. He wants the Lurkers. Sorry, I meant to say the ghosts. He wants the ghosts. He wants them. The Bailings, massive connections. Yeah, there's no way out for these ghosts. They are cornered. And most of them go down. Brutal connections. He wanted the ghosts back. How many did he get? 13. 13 ghosts going down. I mean, that was the heart of the army here for Nicoract. That was the only thing keeping him in this game, was his ghost count. And again, he lost 13. Down to how many? Down to 7. Yeah, 20 ghosts. Crazy. Expansion is denied. Nicoract taking the northern expansion instead. And with that, YoungYakov was just all over him. Still committed to just mass ultra. 9 ultras, by the way. Crazy. Mongo connects. Takes down 3 tanks. It's all he needs. 5 more ultras on the way. Oh, the flanky Fungal! Oh my god, let's go! Fungal does connect. Takes out most of the ghosts. Oh god, the snipes are still brutal though. Ultras, they are going to be cleaned up, not without taking 2 more tanks. Without taking down 2 more tanks. And you can see Nicoract, he's getting desperate, lifting up his orbital, laying it as a 4th. barely trying to maintain himself, purely now almost with orbitals, has one planetary left. He's trying to be active. And this is going to be the Hail Mary play here for Nicoract. I mean, he knows that he's just lost far too much at this point. He's just sending everything across the map. He's sending it back. One way or another, the game is going to end. Either this push works or it doesn't. And here we go. The army collapses in. Massive lightning clouds. GG gets called. And YoungYakov will take the series 3-0, becoming this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, YoungYakov. Back to back, by the way. Last week he took down Creator in the finals. This week takes down Nicoract. GG, well played. Congratulations. Does take the series and is our champion. GG, well played. GG, well played. YoungYakov, you will take it, and Nicoract, will come in second place. Again, we had a spicy finals nonetheless. So again, as a reminder, game 1, Nicoract, he was crazy, went 2-port BC. Wild. We went 2-port BC into mech. Game 2, we saw game 2 was a little bit lackluster. That is true, where YoungYakov, he was able to get 11 SCV kills early on, and that did kind of, in a way, secure the game for YoungYakov. Here in game 3, we had more of a back and forth initially, but in the end, the game did slow down. It was on Nicoract here to try to keep an eye on the main army. Nicoract, he did initially max out. Both players maxed out, but again, it was all about trying to keep up with the rotations of YoungYakov, the army movement, the Nidus worms into the main base, the constant aggression of YoungYakov, and YoungYakov, he was able to find these key holes in the defense, was able to abuse that, able to pull Nicoract apart. Nicoract, he was never able to really stabilize and build up a bank, which is the ideal, right? Ideally, you do want to wall up, wall off, secure your 5 and 6 base setup, minimize losses, and move on from there. But unfortunately, Nicoract never quite got there. Never did quite get there. There were definitely some key moments for YoungYakov as well. I want to say one of the biggest ones was the Nidus worms into the main. The double Nidus into the main was a brutal moment where he was able to trade very well. I want to say he killed like 8 ghosts in that trade. We got into the main base, killed 3 tanks, got a bunch of ghosts, camped the production, of course, and yeah, that was another way for him to secure himself. You could argue that, I mean, he was already in control even leading into that point, true. But yeah, regardless, GG. GG, well played. YoungYakov, he does take it. Back-to-back champion. Well done. Very well done here. But of course, we are missing some of our regulars. We're missing a lot of our regular Protoss players like Geralt, like Christiana, the Polish Protoss Posse, not quite here in full force. Eva, Nightmare, Creator, Trap. Regardless, though, in their absence, YoungYakov does rise up. GG. GG, well played. As a reminder, this tournament is usually over the weekends. It's usually on Sundays, but we have moved it from Sunday to Wednesday just because of Masters Coliseum. Masters Coliseum is going to be over the weekend for the next 2 months, so we are going to be busy covering Masters Coliseum over the weekend, and we had a choice to make. Either we just don't run our tournaments until Masters Coliseum ends, or we reschedule into the week. And I know that during the week, it's not the best time for our players. I'm aware of that. I'm aware. Just because, of course, studies and as well as other commitments are usually taking place during the week. But, it was either that or we don't run it at all. So we had to do something. In the end, it did pick to go for the Wednesday time slots. So yeah, with that, GG. GG, well played. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves, the players and viewers alike. Again, a bit of a shorter broadcast here this time. In 2.5 hours, usually we last 4 hours. So much shorter broadcast this time. But a great time nonetheless. Great time nonetheless. And I'm not too opposed with slowing things down a little bit here, just because we're nearing the end of the year. We're closing in on Christmas and the holidays and all that stuff. So I'm more than happy to take it a little bit easier moving forward. A little bit easier. Some days off, papi. Potentially. I said this before, bit of a PSA, but usually we are live every single day, multiple times, even multiple times a day as well. But this month we will be taking Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off. So we're going to be taking 2 days off there, just as a PSA. We might still have a broadcast. I'm very tempted, by the way, to just cast the tournament ahead of time and then just stream it. Just stream it on those days off. It wouldn't be a live stream, but it'd be like a rebroadcast of like a recorded stream instead. I'm very tempted just to keep things going, but we'll see. We'll see. It depends on how much energy I have. What I'm referring to specifically, I still have the replays of Home Story Cup. For those who don't know, we were the B stream. We were the official B stream of Home Story Cup. But if you remember, during the group stage of Home Story Cup, there were matches that we casted live, there were matches that the mainstream casted live, but there were matches that were not casted, period. Like there were because there were so many games happening at once, and because there were only 2 English streams, there were some matches that just weren't casted, period, during Home Story Cup. So I am tempted to, I do want to cast them eventually, but we just haven't had the time to, and yeah, because of that, and because we have 2 days off for Christmas, tempted to like maybe try to record it ahead of time and then just stream that live. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I find the energy and the time to actually go over the Home Story Cup group matches that weren't casted. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, thanks for watching. He just loves StarCraft too much. Oh no. Is a day not casting really a day off for StarCraft? Never is, Pappy, never is. Not like this. So we'll see if we do end up streaming or not. We'll see. 2 days, crazy. If you remember, I looked it up. I did check our calendar, and the last time we had 4 days off in a row was February of 2023. Over a year ago. Fun fact for those who don't know, it was IM Katowice. During IM Katowice of last year, that's when we had like a 4-day period where we didn't cast because we were just watching IM. It was like I think it was like the last 2 days of IM Katowice and like the next 2 days after or something. So that was the last time we had some days off from casting. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. If you want to support this tournament series and support the CranKy Ducklings, you can do so via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. You will get a link to our Patreon page. You can see that we currently make 303 USD a month. We did get a new patron, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. So much love. Thank you so much to our new patrons that have been joining us. We have almost reached our goal to boost the prize pool for our tournaments. Again, our Patreon, all the money on Patreon goes towards our tournaments, goes towards Sparkling Tuna Cup, Sea Duckling Open, and Master Swan Open as well. So thank you so much for all the patrons that have been joining us over the past couple of months, especially that have been joining us for the first time. Hope you enjoy the content, hope you enjoy the casting, hope you enjoy the StarCraft. And eventually, when it comes to further goals, that would be to pay out more players. Currently, only top 2 get paid out alongside the random raffle. Eventually, would love to pay out top 4. Eventually, would love to pay out top 4 players. But regardless, thank you for the support that we get on Patreon. Do appreciate it. Otherwise, you can follow us on all the social medias: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. If you want to help support us, you can do so. We do post whenever we go live. Again, a bit of a shorter broadcast here today. Thanks for streaming. You're welcome. See, I stand in the chat. Aphrodite, BBQ as well. Thank you. Inner War. So I'm just catching up. Super good game from YoungYakov. Yeah, YoungYakov. Look, he's looking good. Looking good recently. He's on fire, Pap. He's on fire. Good. Might be mixed, yeah, it's mixed, yeah. Share my pack, share. But with that, not even 3 hours. True, not even, Pappy, not even. Hashtag 420 for 2024. What's happening in the chat? Oh no. But with that, we're gonna be wrapping up again. A much shorter broadcast here tonight. I am tempted. Do we ladder stream? Yo, when was the last time we streamed? It's been like a month. Aye. Very tempted to ladder stream. It might be a bit of a short one as well, but I just haven't had the time. Just been focusing on editing VODs and scheduling and uploading and everything. Has been quite busy here. Let's have a look. Last time we streamed was 13 days ago. Okay. Almost 2 weeks. So you know what? We'll have a cheeky ladder session. If you want to tune in, if you want to stick around, I'm gonna be laddering for the first time in 2 weeks. I'm gonna be very rusty, but I'm gonna go get some snacks. I'm gonna go rehydrate, and we'll be jumping into the ladder. And we'll see how the new patch is gonna treat us. It's gonna be amazing. Fun fact: because I haven't laddered in 2 weeks, I missed all of like the broken cyclone era of the patch. I just skipped on that, and we're done with that. The cyclone has been patched. We're good to go. It'll be fine, Pappy. It'll be fine. Oh no. Antagonizing light. Oh no. So that's gonna be the plan. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Stick around. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow. The next broadcast here on the CranKy Ducklings is going to be the podcast. The podcast is going to be tomorrow in less than 24 hours. So tune into that if you want to be notified. If you want to catch up on all the news of the week of StarCraft, we got you covered with the podcast. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. We'll see you when we see you. Hasta luego. Ciao, papi. Ciao. Hasta luego.